to another session of Ed Talks with me, your host Ed, the Executive Director of the Cape South African Jewish Board of Deputies. My name's Daniel. Let me check my mics on. Yes, disclaimer, I'm not a professional videographer, but what I do have is a great cup of coffee. I'm here at the Investec building, also with Inospace, you see in the background, for a networking business breakfast. And while we're here, we're going to hear from political analyst and expert Frans Cronje. He's going to talk us through what we can expect from the political landscape in South Africa over the next year. Remember, there's a local elections that's coming up at the end of the year, and the Cape Board is always prominently involved in providing education to our community about the importance of the elections, what it means, why you should vote, why you should become an active citizen. We all live in this province, we live in the city, we live in this country, and we all need to work together to make sure that we provide the best possible country, platforms, business opportunities, education for everybody. So hopefully Frans will shed some light as to what we expect to see on the political landscape. We also do an event at the end of the year, stay tuned for that, with ENCA on our local elections. So we're going to speak to a few people through the course of the day. It's about an hour and a half breakfast, and it's important for the board to be here, not just to network with everybody that we're going to chat to a little bit in a bit later, but also to learn more about what's happening in our community and our province. Now, the title for this talk is called The Year of the Horse. I know it's a reference to the Chinese zodiac. I don't know what the Year of the Horse means, but I'm hoping that Frans is going to tell us that things might be a little bit more stable this year. That's a horse joke. I know some of you are laughing. And that regardless of what challenges are presented, we will hurdle them together. I'm sure my producer is going to put some sort of like cricket noises. I really know some of you are laughing. Anyway, we're going to hear a little bit more from hopefully the CEO of Inospace, Rael Levitt, who's hosting this event as well, from Frans himself, if there's time, and from a few more people. So I hope you find this a little bit insightful and interesting, and we'll chat a bit later. So as promised, we, as Glenn shifts in, welcome Glenn. Glenn Henick is the Vice Chair of the Cape South African Jewish Board of Deputies, and I want to get a little bit of insight. Firstly, Glenn, welcome to Ed Talks.
Thank you. Privilege and honor.
We're both wearing blue, not because I support anyone other than Man United, but Glenn, you support Chelsea.
Yeah.
Right?
Why not? Why wouldn't I?
Why wouldn't you? Yeah. And we are still friendly and cordial when we see each other.
Okay.
Even though United beat Chelsea early in the season. But anyway, we won't talk about football.
Hang on, let's just start there. Seriously, hang on, not too much. And it's going to be a bit of a riff.
That's fine.
The kind of relationship that we have as fans of particular football teams could be the foundation for the kind of relationships that people should have in every realm. Geopolitical, economic, and social.
That's amazing, yeah.
So you can have an enthusiastic endorsement of a particular team, call it. And the team can be team or actual team or team in inverted commas. Yeah. But when you engage with other people who support other teams, even other teams who you might from the terraces pretend to hate or actually believe you hate, you can still, after the game, after the engagement, sit together and have a beer, talk things through, get to common truths, etc. I quite like it.
No, I like this. Yeah, we talk serious stuff on Ed Talks, and we also talk not so serious stuff.
That's perfectly serious.
But sport, I was about to say,
sport
is a unifying entity. Think about over the years, US played Iran in football matches, for example. You know, I agree with you. And even though Man United are better than Chelsea, we still get along. But Glenn, while we're here, just seriously, we want to talk about. We're here at this business breakfast. We're going to hear about Frans Cronje. I mentioned in my opening line that we do a lot of education about local elections and being an active citizen. Why is it important for the Board of Deputies? And possibly why is it important for the community to know what we're doing? in relation to what Frans is going to talk to us about the political landscape.
Yeah.
Just, you got 2 minutes.
Okay.
Glenn's very philosophical.
Right, off we go.
And I know we could listen to you for a long time because you've got a lot of good points to share, but you've got about 2 minutes before we go in.
Dan's basically saying that I'm too garrulous, loquacious. Well, wordy, but I'll be brief. And this is unrehearsed.
Yeah.
Fact is that 99% of your audience will have at least, no, but 100% of your audience will have more than one identity.
Yeah.
In my case, and in your case, we are simultaneously Jewish, South African, Zionist, although in slightly different ways, liberal, or whatever it is. We got these 10 or 20 different identities.
Yeah.
So our South African identity is, for me, it's primary.
Yeah.
Chelsea means something to me. My family is paramount, but I feel my South Africanness a lot.
Yeah.
Frans going to talk about South Africa. I think he's a very sagacious commentator. I've enjoyed listening to him always. We need to be as aware as we can possibly be of the goings on inside South Africa, both the stuff we can read in the newspaper and what a guy like Frans, who's I think privy to certain information that the general public can't access, what he can share with us. We can then frame our decisions accordingly. We, as this is a like, what do you call it? Ed Talks. What do you call it? Yeah, this is a Jewish focused talk, and I for the moment speak for this Jewish oriented committee or council. But I think that we are, as Jews, we absolutely need to know what's going on in South Africa, what's going on in the world, what's going on in the Trump-centric universe, what's going on with AI. I'm sure you'll bring all these things up. And then we're better able to do the job. Our job being to maximize the opportunities for ordinary people who happen to be Jewish in South Africa to express themselves in all their fullness, their religion, their economics, their politics. Sorry, you said 2 minutes, but I'd rather talk about football because, frankly, seriously, to get back to wheel back to that point, I would say that the great contribution that we as individuals can make, and it can apply to any two individuals anywhere amongst the 8 billion people on the planet. If you can talk to somebody whose view you don't agree with, and in a lot of ways, you and I disagree. I know we disagree. I
can tell you Chelsea's rubbish, United are better.
Yeah. But think about João Pedro, once he hits, we're going to kill you guys. Sesko's good, but so what? No, but if we can seriously have these kind of discussions with our adversaries, I believe that if we could sit across the table and have a honest discussion, a full honest discussion, we get to agree that actually we're all humans. We're all trying to make our way in the world. We're all we've got ambitions, we've got children, we've got opportunities, we've got threats, we've got the fact of our mortality. And yet we can, I think, and we show a propensity often, have murderous fights with one another. But I fancy that one day we can, with help from people like Frans and from our own conscience and our own greatness, we can get on better. I was just talking to these guys now about the increasing inequality in the world, and let's not get there. At least you want to have a long interview. A quick interview.
That's going to be a long. The main interview is going to be with Frans a bit later, maybe Rael.
Okay.
I think, Glenn, listening to you, I don't know if I need to go listen to Frans, but insightful words from our vice chair. I've got to ask you, probably the most important question I'm going to ask you the whole year is, are United and Chelsea going to make the Champions League?
I fancy they will, and I think that Africa will win the T20 World Cup, which will be great for us.
26th of February, and Glenn Henick says United and Chelsea to make the Champions League, and the Proteas will win the T20, and they play West Indies today as well. So, well, thanks to Glenn. Enjoy the talk with Frans.
Thank you, Daniel.
We'll be back a bit later. Back with Ed Talks, and with me is the CEO and founder of Inospace, Rael Levitt. Rael, welcome to Ed Talks.
Yes, hi. Nice to be here.
This is our podcast for the Cape South African Jewish Board of Deputies, where we like to show the community not just only what the board's doing, but what's happening in our community. And I think it's fantastic, this event this morning with Frans Cronje, but our community don't always get to listen to these kind of speakers and understand what's happening. Maybe it's a chance for you to tell our community, why is it important that Inospace is involved in something of this nature, and the type of people coming, what are the takeaways for our community from this kind of event?
I mean, I think that it's certainly from our perspective, from an Inospace perspective, we're in the industrial economy, we've got SMEs, I think it's a critical place to be, and we have a very good outlook on what goes on certain part of South Africa, which is logistics. It's critical. People making, baking, cleaning, fixing. And I think it's a really critical part of the economy. I think certainly the people here today, I mean, there's no doubt about it, there's big Jewish influence here. And I think that, I think our community has done extremely well. And certainly here in Cape Town, it's a strong, vibrant, growing community. There were many CEOs here of big property companies, some public companies, and many of them are actually from our community. I think we play a major role in the economy. I think we should be exceptionally proud of the role that we play, and certainly the community is actually extremely vibrant, extremely strong, and seems to be going nowhere, which is real positive. I think there's a lot of positivity around.
And Frans touched on, or actually you touched on in your opening address about the strength and the importance of the SMMEs and entrepreneurs. And obviously you're also involved in Inospace as a support and partner with the Entrepreneurs Network. How should our community be looking at the entrepreneur side of things more as well? Because it's not only about the big businesses, etc. It's about the little guys, so to speak.
Well, I mean, I think our community is inherently entrepreneurial. I mean, it's really part of our DNA. It's part of our global DNA, in fact. And I mean, very succinctly, we're standing at Investec, which is just a great example of a bunch of entrepreneurs who started off in a small platteland South African town in Benoni. And it's the boykies from Benoni. If you look around how important entrepreneurialism is, people always think there's corporates and there's but to see actually, and I see where we had quite a lot of young entrepreneurs, people, and obviously entrepreneurs today are in AI and technology and those sort of areas. I think that sort of young entrepreneurism is absolutely critical. I think it's actually extremely strong in our community. Entrepreneurism, it hasn't gone away. A lot of people think, well, we as we've grown in our economic positions, actually, that entrepreneurism has disappeared. Not at all. In fact, I think it's strong. In fact, it's strong. It's vibrant. In fact, I went to a function the other night, a whole bunch of entrepreneurs. You're seeing a lot more of the Johannesburg entrepreneurs actually in Cape Town. And they're correct, because there's actually great sentiment. So it's really strong entrepreneurism. I mean, Inospace is a company started by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs, and so entrepreneurism is strong, as it always has been, and as it should continue to be.
Well, Rael, thank you. I think you're an exceptional advocate for entrepreneurship, and I think your partnership on the Entrepreneurs Network, which obviously the board is one of the founders of, I think it's crucially important. And these kind of platforms are really an important opportunity for people to learn what's happening. I mean, my takeaways from Frans this morning, it's positive, the outlook on South Africa, and I think our community needs to know that as well. So please continue the incredible work you're doing within our community and around the community. And if you don't know enough about Inospace, then where can they find out more?
You can just add a .com to the sign behind.
Inospace.com, more information. So, Rael, thanks so much.
Thank you.
We'll chat further.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Okay, so what a view for Ed Talks with Table Mountain behind us. I wasn't referring to you, Frans, although it is a view. I'm happy to have Frans Cronje, who's a political and economical analyst and an expert in all things political. Frans, welcome to Ed Talks.
Thanks for getting me on.
Yes, and I appreciate you taking the time. We've just listened to you for the last 45 minutes talk about the political past of South Africa, what the present is like and what the future could hold. And I think what's important is that the people in the room are all business people and leaders of community, but it's important for the general community that's going to be going to the voting polls, you say end of the year, beginning of next year for local elections, to know that we actually live in a country with a lot of opportunity and prospect, and it's not all doom and gloom. So what would you say in terms of a message to the average South African or average Cape Townian voter out there, in terms of 5 key points you want to land as to why they need to go and vote and why it is actually an incredible space that we live in?
Yeah, well, I'll give you 5 countervailing forces, because that's what we really spoke about this morning.
Yeah.
And whether they choose to vote or not, it's really up to them.
Yeah.
One countervailing force is South Africa's democracy works.
Yeah.
People are motivated by their material circumstances. When life improves, support for the administration rises. When it begins to slip, political support reduces. That's why the ANC lost an election. Second countervailing force is public opinion is completely moderate, centrist and pragmatic. It's not true at all what's so often cast in the media, that South Africa is a country deeply divided against itself. Unlike many parts of the world that we might think about or work in, I mean, United States just being one. South Africa is a country we sometimes describe as not being multicultural, as unicultural, where culture is the collective values of people. So that's a very, very strong asset in our favor. The third is fiscal policy. The ANC knew it was going to lose that election in 2024, and they didn't print money. And that was interesting because that's what you should do. If you're a post-colonial, a first sort of generation post-colonial administration, schooled in East Germany and the Soviet Union, you lose an election. You need to go and print money because then you can create poverty, real poverty, deep poverty, and through inflation. And then populism, and then the election result doesn't matter. So that didn't happen. A fourth is on Eskom. It's an old call in our firm from the days when the C team were talking about stage 8 load shedding, that South Africa's got more than enough grid capacity, particularly that runs north to south, and more than enough defunct coal capacity, that if we get serious about the management of the coal fleet, we can, from an energy perspective, produce enough deep out into the next decade to seriously start thinking of a growth rate of 3 or 4%. I think that was 4. Number 5, I'll do foreign policy for you. South Africa is a choke point at the Simonstown Naval Base, which is just down the road from us over here. In a multipolar world, China and America against each other, choke points have vast diplomatic value. And if South Africa could learn to trade the value in that Simonstown choke point, could unlock massive, not just trade, but investment concessions from Washington and Beijing alike, sufficient, we think, to raise the rate of fixed investment from the current 15% to nearer 25. If we do that as a country, we take the rate of economic growth to 4%. If we hold that there for 20 years, we bring the unemployment rate down from 30% to 10. And if you hear it in that way, you can almost start to feel optimistic about the country's prospects.
Well, Frans, that's absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. I hope our community learns a lot. And to hear more from you, are a lot of your sessions, are they online at all? Nothing online?
Nothing's in the public domain. But we're talking to you guys, and maybe we're going to put something special together.
Watch the space. We're looking to bring Frans back to Cape Town to talk to the entire community and share some of your thoughts on it. So, Frans, thanks so much. It was really interesting, positive insights, and just enjoy the rest of your time in Cape Town.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Well, again, with this incredible view behind me, and you can see the view from the Investec building, I mean, sure, it's unbelievable. It's breathtaking. We live in truly one of the most, probably the most beautiful, vibrant city anywhere in the world. You've heard from Frans Cronje some very encouraging and positive aspects about where South Africa is going and why you as a Cape Townian and South African should be active citizens. You should be voting, get to the polls, vote in the elections. Because you guys can make a difference. And you're going to hear more about the upcoming local elections. The board is very involved in education and bringing information to our community about the importance of elections, not necessarily who to vote for. We're apolitical. We're not going to promote a particular party of sorts. But in the coming months, we're going to start that campaign. We're looking to host a live debate with ENCA as we do every single election. So that's going to take place maybe end of the year as well. And as you just heard from Frans, he might be in Cape Town to talk to our community and share some of his insights. So from me, Ed, at the Investec building, it's hosted by Inospace. It was with Frans Cronje, with Table Mountain in the background. Keep it kosher.